Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. No special introduction music tonight. It's just me to do a quick introduction. And yes, I'm the guy who's been speaking. I'm Greg Thies. I'm the president of NATAS Northwest. And it's super great to see everybody here. And we had a big crowd this afternoon. We had the student awards this afternoon. We had about 180 students and advisors and family here. So it's been a busy day for the NATAS family. I do want to send a special thank you over to Robyn and Sarah, Robyn Wotanek and Sarah Gibbons here, who are the co-chairs of our Gold and Silver Circle Committee. They do a fabulous job, and also a big thank you to the folks here at FremontStudios for hosting us. So great to have you here. You really don't want to hear from me. We're going to bring on the real host of the show, Deborah Horn. Come on up.
Thank you, Greg. Well, what a good-looking group you are. It is so good to see you on this really special occasion. Good evening, I'm Deborah Horn, and welcome to the 2026 Gold Circle, we don't often get to say that, and Silver Circle Honors. Well, I know just how special a night this is because I'm actually celebrating my 10th anniversary when I too was inducted into the Silver Circle. I don't think the Gold Circle, thank you. I'm not thinking I'm gonna make it into the Gold Circle, but I know that it is really an important occasion, and I just am so thrilled to see all of you here. This is one of the most meaningful traditions of the Northwest chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. The Silver Circle recognizes individuals who began their careers in television at least 25 years ago, and who have distinguished themselves not only through excellence in performing creative, technical, or administrative roles, but also through significant service to our chapter and our region. This honor celebrates those who strengthen our industry through mentorship, leadership, and community impact. The Gold Circle represents an even higher milestone, reserved for those with more than 50 years of contributions to the advancement of broadcasting in the Northwest. I mean, that's special. That means today, someone who started in the industry in 1976, yeah, that last century, that's what all the kids are saying, or earlier. Together, these are the innovators, the mentors, the steady voices, and the trusted guides who have shaped the way our communities understand the world. Their work has elevated our craft, inspired generations, and left an enduring mark on the Northwest. This is a very special evening because tonight we begin with a broadcaster whose name is woven into the very fabric of Northwest journalism, our 2026 Gold Circle inductee, Jeff Renner. One of the Northwest's most trusted voices in science and weather, and as we all know, a longtime meteorologist at King TV in Seattle. Jeff became a household name during the eruption of Mount St. Helens. That was 1981, wasn't it? 80, see, I can't count. No reporter should be allowed to use any numbers, where his clear, steady reporting helped guide the region through an uncertain time. He spent decades bringing science to life for viewers and students alike, visiting more than 600 classrooms and authoring several books. Where did you find the time? Jeff's volunteer work is just as remarkable, from diving at the Seattle Aquarium to supporting Little Bit Therapeutic Writing Center. Today, he continues his work as host of Challenge 2.0, exploring ethics and contemporary issues. Let's take a look at Jeff's remarkable career.
And things are going to start picking up again.
Everybody out there dodging raindrops and a downpour today. Jeff, what's coming our way now?
Well, let's see. I have to use all my fingers practically to count the potential problems.
He was a first alert fixture at King 5 for 38 years.
Well, today was very wet without question, but we had some gorgeous breakthroughs of the sun.
A Wisconsin native, Jeff Renner's first broadcasting job was in college radio. He came to King as a television reporter in '77, but quickly made the Weather Center his on-air home. And he did more than just watch the rain gauge and the Doppler radar. He was the station's science reporter, rejoicing in the rugged Northwest.
I first met David on Mount Baker in 1978.
On land,
The best color isn't in the trees lining the banks, it's here in the river. I'm speaking of salmon.
and underwater.
A diver's first impression underwater is that of a bountiful garden.
Explaining why we see what we see around us. The aurora borealis, our orcas and the challenges they face, the increasing danger of fire season, the violent potential of our Cascade Peaks, and one of the biggest regional stories of the last half-century.
May 18th, 1980, the day Mount St. Helens erupted.
One morning in early April,
He tracked the changing landscape of Mount St. Helens for years after the eruption, and often stepped away from weather for special news reports.
Bob and Linda, Whidbey Island Naval Air Station is growing. That's because it's home to the A-6 intruders, which played a key role in last year's air attacks on Libya.
He didn't do much standing around and watching in the field. Jeff was known for digging into his stories.
A snow cave, without question, takes longer to set up than a tent, but it's so much warmer. We'll take a new look.
And he is
Our
still
divisions,
at it,
our
still
connections,
expanding his own and our horizons.
in a new program called Challenge 2.0.
As executive producer and host of a weekly show examining faith, community, human relations. When he's not working, he loves landing the lunkers with his son Eric, vacationing with his wife Sue, exploring the mountains with his beloved huskies, viewing the Northwest from the air. He's had a pilot's license since his early 20s.
No jibbing, no jibbing.
Competitive sailing, especially those wild, windy race days on Puget Sound. He won 9 Emmys along the way, wrote 5 books on mountain and maritime weather. And despite all the serious work for all those years, he's always been willing to have a little fun, making regular scuba appearances at the Seattle Aquarium, playing himself deadpan in an almost live skit.
Jeff?
Yeah.
All right, look, I've had it. This weather sucks.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Renner, truly golden. 53 years in the business and counting.
Well, that was marvelous. The inscription on Jeff's gold plaque reads, meteorologist, scientist, television producer, author, pilot, sailor. You have successfully done it all. From reporting on Mount St. Helens to delivering daily weather forecasts, you are a teacher, a storyteller, a Renaissance man. Thank you for more than 50 years of dedication to our community and to the Pacific Northwest. Please welcome Gold Circle honoree, Jeff Renner.
I was going to say, I don't know what to say, but for a broadcaster, that's death. Thank you so much. Looking out in the audience, people occupying the chairs and seeing so many people that I've respected over the years, this means that much more, so thank you very much. And to all the people that have worked with me at King over the ages, I had to use that word, ages. If you could just stand up briefly, because I'd like to give a round of applause to all of you. The special thing about one of these events is the people we'd see on our monitors from other stations and you knew also did great work, you get to be with. So I thank all of you for being a good example of challenging us, drawing us to better heights. I would like to take a moment to redirect this appreciation. I know that out in the audience, many of you are family members, friends, past or present colleagues, other people that are being recognized tonight. So what I'd like to do is ask the other Gold and Silver Circle honorees to applaud all of you for being of support to all of us. I must say, and this is the honest truth, I am somewhat envious of the Silver Circle honorees. At 25 years of experience, and you don't need to hold up a hand for this and make me feel bad, you are in your prime. At 50 years, I think the word elder is probably one of the most positive things you could say. As a cycling friend once put it when we were bicycling not that long ago, he said that, you know, at your age, you begin to wonder, do you need a primary care physician or a primary care paleontologist? There are days that feels a little bit like that. And the evidence builds greatly and gradually. I remember the time a young woman came up, child in hand, and said, "Oh, Mr. Renner, you visited my classroom. I really enjoyed that so much. Thank you for coming." And I looked and I said, "Well, where do you teach?" And she looked at me a little confused and she said, "Oh, no, I was in the 6th grade." My smile faded just a little bit. Whatever we've contributed to the field reflects how we've been shaped by others, colleagues who have supported, challenged, and certainly inspired us. I think of the many people, and I had them stand up. I'd like to name each one of you, but I suspect there's the equivalent of a floor director over here who, when we went a little bit over, they'd do this. When we went a lot over, they'd be going like that. I don't want to go into that. But I think of the heritage we've had in the Seattle area for so many years of fabulous people holding the reins to our different stations and so committed to the local community. Dorothy Bullitt was definitely one of those. I know those working with me during the early days at King TV would agree that this amazing woman, the founder and driving force behind King Television, was a major inspiration in our work. She fostered a workplace with commitment to professional excellence, courage, and commitment to our community. And I have to say that one time when a news manager called me into his office, a couple months after starting work there, and said, "We want you to go to Mount Rainier and take a mountain climbing class." I was from Wisconsin. They have no mountains. My first ski lesson was on landfill. And I thought, okay, this is good. This sounds like it's going to be an interesting career, but maybe they're trying to tell me something, that they want to send me into the crater of an active volcano, Mount Baker at that time. We try not to take our work home with us, but how often do we really succeed? The sustaining foundation, given the demanding yet very fulfilling nature of our work, is the support and inspiration of our family. I thank my son and daughter-in-law, Eric and Darcy Renner, both of whom are here tonight. So my thanks to both of you. Above all, many of you know me. My wife, Sue, would be here, but she's in the midst of chemotherapy, and anybody that's had that experience knows that that is something that can be brutal, and she's gradually working through that whole process. She's responding well. I should point out that she was professionally a mental health counselor and a hypnotherapist, and people say, you know, looking at you, we can see why that was a good match. There are the people that we ultimately work for, our viewers, those who permit us to tell their stories. The reports we craft are in truth architecture that builds bridges of understanding, of motivation, of inspiration. I think that's always our goal. In particular, I think of the late U.S. Geological Survey scientist and eventually my friend, Dr. David Johnston. You saw some video of him up here. In 1978, I accompanied David into the crater of Mount Baker on assignment, and you saw that. He replaced my initial, and I think very sensible feelings of intimidation, let's be honest, fright, with awe and wonder and curiosity. 16 months later, we'd reconnect during the awakening of Mount St. Helens. It was on May 18th, 1980, at 8:32 in the morning that David's radio and transmission, Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it, alerted us to the fact that the mountain was exploding. It claimed David's life, but amazingly, I'm still here. I made it from age 26 to age 27. The fact that I got a 50th anniversary award on this tells you enough of what you need to know with my age with those dates. I met David's father a few months after that eruption to share memories and to share videos. When someone loses a son or a daughter, perhaps the biggest service that you can offer is helping fill in the gaps of those times when they couldn't be with them. As we prepared to part, David's dad said, "There's a part of me, Jeff, that wishes I'd never encouraged his interest in volcanology, in volcanoes. But David used to tell me," this is his dad, Tom, speaking, "that for him each day was an adventure. It was an opportunity to learn something new, to get better at what he did, to use that knowledge and skill to help other people." I have sought over the years since Mount St. Helens to follow that inspiration, and I leave that inspiration together with my thanks to each of you tonight. Thank you.
My mother never called herself elderly. I'm just wanting to tell you that. She was always a senior citizen. Other people were elderly. So you can take that word right out of your vocabulary. For nearly 30 years, Andy Carson has been one of the most familiar faces on Good Day Oregon at Fox 12 in Portland. His career began with an internship at Late Night with David Letterman, followed by early weather roles in Kansas and Virginia before moving to Portland in 1996 to help launch the morning show. Andy's humor, warmth, and Andy's adventures have made him a beloved part of Portland viewers' mornings, while his support for countless community organizations reflects his deep commitment to the Northwest. Meet Andy Carson.
He's a small-town boy who got his first big break in Pittsburgh.
This is KOAM's First News.
Pittsburgh, Kansas, that is.
There's a powerful smell going on as well.
But perhaps the first glimpse of Andy Carson's future success came a few years earlier in the Big Apple.
It's Late Night with David Letterman.
When he landed an internship with David Letterman and quickly realized he wasn't in Kansas anymore.
Go ahead, Andy, swallow loud. I just pray to God he was swallowing then.
Fast forward a few years to 1996, when the young man went west to help launch a new show called Good Day Oregon, where his chemistry with the team created instant TV magic.
Let's play King of the Mountain and go knock him off.
Especially with his traffic and weather back-to-back counterpart, Tony Martinez.
I'm 35 years old and I'm dressed like a bee. Andy? I'm Andy Carson. Would you like to see my stinger? Look at my little buddy. It's a little windy out here, Tony.
Now the lights are really going out.
Somebody quick! Run for your lives! We have no more power! Oh, she just barfed on me.
For Andy, the winning formula over the next 30 years could be broken down into 3 parts.
Look at this right here on the jacket. Look at that.
Find humor in the mundane.
What do we have here, Joe?
My 3 sons, maybe?
My 3 nuns.
Oh!
Anybody like a ride? I got a motorcycle. Hold on tight.
Embrace the mistakes.
Oh my, Oakley likes me a little too much.
And establish a genuine camaraderie with colleagues.
Now let's check in with Andy Carson on the coast.
We're seeing whales. They're shooting their
what?
yeah.
Look at that! Oh my gosh, this is so cool, Andy.
Andy became known for delivering the weather all over the Portland area, meeting viewers and including them in the moment.
What was the name of the first pet that you ever had as a kid?
Shithead?
Oh, no!
A favorite tradition? The annual Halloween visit to Goodwill.
Now, are you with nuts or without nuts on this?
Oh, he's clearly nuts.
I'm with you.
Featuring 25 costume changes over the course of the show.
Oh, no!
Yes, right
Andy,
there.
no! You just got the side eye from the banana.
Are you
oh, no! Oh.
As the ratings climbed higher, so did Andy, summiting Mount St. Helens while live on the air.
They're right there on the edge of the crater, kind of
Amazing.
the south rim. But, you know, the wide shots give you the perspective. That crater's about a mile across.
Whoa!
That opened the door for what would become Andy's Adventures, an opportunity to meet interesting people doing interesting things. Now, as he celebrates his 30 successful years at KPTV, the story is clear. You can take the boy out of Kansas.
It was really neat, Andy.
Well, thank
really,
you.
really.
Thanks, it was funny.
But there's no good day in Oregon without Andy.
Well, you are funny. I can't wait to hear you speak. Andy's Silver Circle inscription reads, "For 30 years, your humor, wit, and unforgettable adventures brightened our mornings. A trusted guide through countless weather events and a treasured colleague, you will always be part of KPTV's Good Day Oregon." Please welcome Andy Carson.
I need to apologize to you right off the bat. I mean, you're a legend, and then you had to have that follow you. So, yeah. And isn't this event great tonight? I mean, could we get the seats a little closer together? Spirit Airlines lives on, my friends. It does. So, you know, you mentioned 30 years, Good Day Oregon. I'll hit 30 years this coming August of Good Day Oregon. But yesterday, I celebrated 32 years of marriage with my beautiful wife, Denise. She should get this silver circle. And every time I look in the mirror now with a beard, she's getting one. Here's your silver circle, right here. So I've only been doing my marriage longer than I've been doing Good Day Oregon, looking back on that. You know, they told me to keep this short. So when I was 9, I showed sheep at the fair. And I'm kidding you not. I got the grand champion lamb at the Kansas National Junior Livestock Show. Yes, and I sold it. That's what you do, and you make your money. And I was on TV in Wichita, Kansas. And I sold that lamb for $1,282.25. And I tasted the first blood of just fame and fortune right then. So I'm like, I'm going into TV. So it did all come together. So I'm so incredibly thankful, and I kind of am confused on why I'm here, especially after following you. But I have a huge thank you to a lot of people. First of all, my Uncle Rico, Mike Heinrich, who put together this video right here. He's still putting together a video right over there. So we can use this video for when I retire and at my funeral. So I don't have an announcement date on either one of those, so we'll just keep that going together there. So also some other people that came up, Shauna Parsons, Shauna right over there. Shauna, and I appreciate her husband, Ivan, coming up. That drive is not fun. Have you done that? Yeah, just stay in Seattle. Don't go back and forth. So they made their way up here, and Shauna and I both have this thing of we're nervous we were hired because of our good looks. Shauna, years ago, this is back when you could do things like this, back in late 90s, early 2000s. There was one of those fringe newspapers in Portland, and they voted her the most porkable anchor in Portland. I don't even know what that means. I'm a sheep farmer from Kansas. I knew people would be appalled by that, especially you. Then I was in the sexiest weatherman competition on a radio station when Rob Marciano worked in our market. You cannot beat Rob Marciano in a sexy contest. I got second place. I'll take that as a win. My general manager and my news director, Chris and Corey, are both here, and I thank them so much. Thank you for your ideas. Thank you for your, pushing me into uncomfortable situations. I don't like doing the Halloween show. I don't like it, but they make me do it every year. So thank you so much. You guys deserve the silver circle more so than I do. And I'd take these others and give them to you, but they have a lot of other things going on here, and I don't want to take it. Because I read y'all's stuff, I Googled you. Yeah, I really don't know why I'm here, but thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And isn't one of you, didn't you retire today? Did I see that? You retired. That's good timing, my friend. Congratulations, yeah. So, did I keep it under my 3 or 4 minutes? I don't know, let's do it, yeah. Thank you. Prom date.
Well, your wife is here, so I don't have to worry. Well, you were just as advertised. Thank you for that. Steve Denari has spent more than 3 decades shaping creative storytelling in the Northwest. After early work at Saturday Night Live and stations in Indianapolis, he joined Portland's KTUU in 1998, eventually becoming Director of Creative Services and later Executive Producer of AM Northwest. Steve created new shows, educational programs, and the Emmy-winning Go Green special, while using his talents to support nonprofits across the region. As you'll see in this video, his career reflects innovation, leadership, and a deep commitment to community.
Say, gang, I want to talk to you about starting your day off right.
It could be said that Steve Denari was destined for a career in broadcasting.
We were always a television family.
Steve grew up in Indiana. His father, Bob, hosted a sports radio show. His uncle ran a TV station, and his older brothers worked in advertising and sportscasting. In high school, Steve was a video pioneer.
I didn't really want to write book reports, so I talked the teacher into letting me do video book reports. I didn't write anything down. We just messed around with the video camera doing a fake Frankenstein.
After high school, Steve attended Wabash College, and in 1992, he landed an internship at NBC's Saturday Night Live. He worked in the research department, assisting the SNL writers and producers.
It taught you how to think on your feet.
After college, Steve joined the production staff at WXIN in Indianapolis.
I was the guy running the camera, running the tapes.
Eventually, Steve talked his way into producing promos and comedy pieces for the weekend sports shows.
I did black and white commercials, parodies of stuff.
Extreme Jets, it's Jets at 10,000 feet.
In 1998, he joined the promotions department at KATU in Portland, where he created Emmy award-winning promos.
Ken Jennings keeps leaping over those Jeopardy questions.
Charlie Murphy's watching Channel 2 News this morning.
In 2002, he took a leadership role as the Director of Creative Services, and in 2007, Steve became the executive producer of AM Northwest.
Well, with AM Northwest, it's a live show. You don't know what's going to happen. It could all go sideways, and that's kind of the fun.
You know, it's just so hard to get ready for the show. There's so much to do.
Hey, I need that tape in 10 seconds.
It's on its way. I got it.
Hey, it's cool. Helen's got it.
Steve infused his improvisational style into the show, creating make-em-ups with hosts Helen Raptis and Dave Anderson. Steve even got his wife and kids into the act every Halloween.
The Halloween ones are fun just because they're little time capsules of my kids.
And it's community service that's a true passion for Steve. And he continues to use his storytelling skills to help raise funds for worthy causes like the Alzheimer's Association, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and Make-A-Wish.
Capturing all those kind of magical moments for these Make-A-Wish kids is really powerful. And so my job is to create an emotional moment that is going to be at that gala that's going to get people to open up their wallets. These organizations that need our help as broadcasters, it is our job, it is our duty to serve them well, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
For your long love of broadcasting and dedication to the community, congratulations, Steve. Welcome to the Silver Circle.
Steve's inscription reads, a master of creative services, a visionary storyteller, and a champion of community affairs. Your dedication to crafting compelling narratives, creating high-impact programming, and driving creative endeavors stands as an example to us all. Thank you for over 3 decades of dedication. Please welcome Steve Denari.
Who knew two interns would be 92? So there you go. They didn't put me on TV, though. I'm going to be sappier than most, and I'm known for getting emotional. So this is incredibly humbling for me because it's an honor that puts me in the spotlight, but I need to honor the people that helped me get here, the people that encouraged me, the people that supported me, the people that looked out for me. First, my parents, Bob and Nancy. They were the ultimate supportive people that you could ever meet. When I was in college, I was a theater major, and they came to every production. They didn't come to just opening night. They drove an hour both ways to see every production I was ever in. My dad ran the video camera when I did the stories on for my book reports. They showed up when I needed extras in my promos. You could see them there. So they were the most positive people for my career. And then there's one important moment that seems small, but it's a huge moment in my life. When I was an intern at Saturday Night Live, somebody asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do a documentary on John Belushi. And they said, well, how are you going to do that? And I said, I don't know. So I wrote a letter to Judy Belushi, his widow. And there was no Google. There was no any way to research that. It was the back of a book I wrote to the publisher. 3 months later, I'm at my parents' house, and the phone rings, and it's Judy Belushi. And she listened to my pitch. A 21-year-old who had no idea what he was doing, who had no experience, who wanted to do a documentary. And she couldn't have been kinder. She said she would think about it. She called me back. She decided to do it with somebody else. But she took the time to reach out and see somebody that had a dream and encouraged it. And she was on the show, AM Northwest, like a decade later. And I was able to thank her in person and tell her the story. And it was an amazing moment to thank a person that really inspired me. She was on the show for a number of times after, and she passed away a couple of years ago, and it was just nice to know that I could connect with her. I'd like to thank the first person who ever gave me a job in broadcasting. His name was Chris Watt. He hired me to pull cable at conventions at the Hoosier Dome. And I had no experience, and he gave me a chance. And it's those people that give us our chances in life that need to be thanked, to be reached out to. I called him when I first got to Portland. I called him and out of the blue and just thanked him for giving me that job. And he was thrilled to hear it, and it made me feel good that he helped me get through that first door. I'd like to thank Jan Allen and Colette Roof-Reese, who gave me my first job here, who brought me out, who had a belief in me when I was working out in New Jersey, and they brought me out to Portland. These are the people that took chances, and it meant so much to me. My friend, the late photographer Brian Garvin, he taught me how to edit. He showed me how to make music in editing, and I've never forgotten that. Dave Anderson, who is no longer with us, and he was a comedy muse for me. The list goes on, and there's so many talented people that supported me, who reached out to me, who guided me along my path. And I've had the good fortune to lead some of the smartest and most creative people that are in the business. I want to thank my family, Cassie, my wife, and my sons, Jack and Hudson. They're the most supportive people. They appear in stuff I've produced, and they do it at like 12 o'clock at night, and it's amazing. I watch them grow up, and my sons, Jack and Hudson, they are the most important production I've ever been a part of. But the reason I said all of this is that if you haven't reached out to that one person that gave you that chance, that person who gave you that first job, those are the people that we need to connect with. And we need to do it for other people when they need help. When you see somebody that has that spark, you need to feed that spark, because that's what we're here in the business for, and that's how we're going to keep it moving. I'm so grateful for this honor. I don't feel I don't feel I deserve it, but it is incredibly special to me, and I thank you so much. I told you I'd get emotional.
You probably don't know how lucky you are to have gotten a seat in here, because more than 24 people are here for the next honoree. For 40 years, Mimi Gann has been a powerful storyteller, an Emmy-winning journalist, filmmaker, and advocate whose work has informed, inspired, and sparked change. At King 5 in Seattle, she produced and hosted some of the station's most memorable programs before co-founding MI2 Media to create documentaries for social impact. Mimi has been a leading voice for equity, co-founding campaigns to combat anti-Asian hate, and launched the Democracy Cup to increase civic engagement. Her decades of service to the arts and her mentorship of emerging storytellers have strengthened the cultural fabric of the Northwest. Here's a look at Mimi's impactful career.
Mimi is someone who will do anything for anyone.
An amazing friend, incredible mother.
Mimi stands out. She's one of a kind.
So this is the spot where...
For 40 years, Mimi Gann has been a storyteller, community advocate, and quiet leader.
She's a master connector.
She's very stubborn.
She's just incredible.
Mimi started out in radio after graduating from Stanford, but quickly made the leap to television, moving to Seattle in 1989 to work at King TV's evening magazine.
I shared an office with her for years and years and years, and
6'3".
Mimi knows how to curse.
Hey, welcome to Watch This. This is Mimi.
And this is Jim.
One day someone came along and said, we need a children's show. Mimi was the one who really pushed that.
A cap and gown, a graduation, a real graduation.
Boy, I'm getting tingles right now thinking about it.
Of the 6,800 disabled children in Quang Tri, most are victims of landmines.
Hi, I'm Mimi Gann. Welcome to Japan.
In 2005, after 16 years at King, she left to launch Me Too Media. She also co-directed a documentary about pumpkins.
Giants. Size really does matter.
I'm going to try to get you fired up about voting.
Then in 2018, Mimi joined Seattle-based Common Power to help register voters across swing states.
Our stories are your stories.
Alarmed by the spike in anti-Asian hate crimes during the COVID pandemic, Mimi co-founded a campaign in 2020 to help promote empathy and understanding during that dark period.
And we wanted to do something positive to show who Asians are, what Asians are made of.
For more than 20 years, Mimi has served as a trustee on the boards of the Wing Luke Asian Museum and Seattle Children's Theater. Her dual passions came full circle this year with the launch of Young Dragon, a Bruce Lee story.
So with Mimi Gann, we just struck gold. She's an incredible board member who has been so supportive, who's been in board leadership, and really understands and continues, even after 20 years, connecting new people to the mission and to the impact.
For all that Mimi has accomplished and the many lives she's impacted, we celebrate her induction into the NATAS Northwest Silver Circle this year.
When you make a list of the quality people that you've met in your lifetime, she'd be on that top 5. Actually, no, Mimi, we'll put you in the top 3.
Congrats, Mimi, from everybody at Seattle Children's Theater. We congratulate you on this moment and this achievement. It is so well-deserved.
Congratulations, Mimi. You deserve this so much, and we all love you.
Good night.
Mimi's inscription reads, following 40 years of powerful storytelling and tireless advocacy for our underrepresented communities and for believing representation matters, we celebrate your unwavering commitment to excellence and the profound legacy of your life's work. Please welcome Mimi Gann.
Wow. Right, sorry. Thank you all. Thank you, Deborah. I've admired you for so long, so thank you. This is really special that you're here. First, a quick hello to my family. I think they're watching live stream. My kids, Chloe and Grace, are back east. And then my sister and my brother, they're in California. So hi and love to you. I have so many people to thank. And first of all, I want to thank Susan Hahn. Susan, my dear friend, thank you for nominating me. I've always thought of you as my little sister ever since you first came to Evening Magazine, right out of UW. And I can't tell you how much you mean to me, and thank you for nominating me. And you know, you've surpassed me in every single way. She just retired from the Seattle Channel, so shout out to Susan. And thank you to Susan and to Tom Volk for that incredible video. Wow, thank you. Wow, those 90s shoulder pads, whoa. The haircut, whoa. Anyway, it was great to have my old evening crew back together. You guys are the best, really. And thanks as well to the people who put together the video and to who wrote letters of support, Randy Eng and Brian Callanan at Seattle Channel, to Kevin Malgacini from Seattle Children's Theater, Jim Dever, my dear, like I called him my work husband, Catherine Chang, she's like my sister, Lori Matsukawa, Betty Fujikato, Judy Yu. Truly grateful for your kind words and letters of support. And congratulations to my fellow Silver Circle and Gold Circle honorees. It's really an honor to be among you. And I can't forget my husband, Everett. Thank you for your patience through deadlines, rewrites, late nights. He's a little OCD. I'm a procrastinator, so, you know, wow. At midnight, it was like, you know, I've got one last rewrite, you know, that was me. And to my many friends who are here with me today, I can't tell you what this means to me. I mean, I don't like attention. I mean, I don't like the fuss. And so it just touches my heart, and you all mean so much to me. And I just want to thank you. I'm just so grateful you're here. You know, like I said, I feel really uncomfortable. And it's not like I'm ungrateful, because I'm very grateful. But there are so many people doing incredible work without this kind of spotlight. And I share this with every production and content team I've ever worked with. This is all for you. There are a few people who shaped my path. I'd like to thank Matt Chan. He was my first boss in San Francisco. You may have heard of the show Hoarders. He created that. And he always made me laugh, but he also made me cry because he was really brutal. He had that red pen, and he would just tear apart my scripts. But he made me a better storyteller. And I really miss him, and rest in peace. Jay Cascio, he took a chance on me at King 5 and put me on the air. And I wasn't really sure I belonged, but he took a chance. And of course, to Lori Matsukawa, founder of the Asian American Journalists Association, the Seattle chapter, who taught me what it means to lead with grace and kindness and to lift others up. Thank you, Lori. So I was pretty shy growing up, never a type A, not like Andy. Which is funny because I chose a career where you talk to strangers for a living and put yourself out there. As one of the only kids of color in my neighborhood, I spent a lot of time figuring out where I fit. But college changed that. Listening to other people's stories helped me understand my own and gave me pride in being Asian American. At King 5 and Evening Magazine, I always say I have the best job in the world because I got to be curious. I met incredible people, traveled the world, worked with a creative and sometimes crazy team. You all know that, right? But what stayed with me were the stories of resilience, not the celebrity ones, although Dolly Parton was a delight and Tommy Lee Jones was not. Growing up in the Bay Area, I watched Jan Yanahiro, the first host of Evening Magazine, of the very first evening magazine in the country, because it was a syndicated show. She was a trailblazer, and seeing someone who looked like me on TV mattered. And I don't think I realized it then. But now, after more than 2 decades of telling stories, it feels like a full circle moment, and representation matters. After leaving traditional broadcasts, I found a deeper purpose, as you saw, using storytelling to lift up underrepresented voices, to respond to anti-Asian hate, to get out the vote, to build connection and community. And thank you to my OSACE team, especially Betty and Catherine, for leading the way. Thank you for being here too. I love you. Because in the end, that's what this has always been about. And just telling stories, not just telling stories, but helping people feel seen. You know, my parents, first generation Chinese Americans, taught me that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. Journalism gave me something I didn't have growing up. It gave me a voice. And now, as I enter what I like to call the last third of my life, because that sounds better than silver? I don't know. There's one thing I do know. We may not change the world, but each of us can change a small part of it. And those small acts, those moments of kindness, connection, and engagement, they all add up. They matter. And never underestimate the impact you can have just by helping one person feel seen. So thank you for seeing me, for supporting me, and for being part of my story. I feel incredibly lucky and deeply, deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that was lovely. Thank you, Mimi. Last year's Silver Circle class included an honoree who couldn't attend the ceremony, and tonight we're proud to recognize him properly, Mike McCabe. Mike grew up outside Yakima, where a childhood tour of KIMA sparked his dream of becoming a weatherman. After early work in radio and his first on-air role at Clue in Lewiston, Idaho, he returned to Yakima and later its sister station in the Tri-Cities, Keeper, where he is the station's main evening weather anchor. For more than 20 years, viewers across the Tri-Cities and Yakima have relied on Mike's calm presence and loved him for the humor and novelty suits that brighten every season.
Partly cloudy conditions at this hour across the basin and central Washington. I knew when I was young that I wanted to be on TV. In what capacity, I wasn't sure. I got a tour of a local television station where I grew up, and from there I was sort of hooked with the idea that I was going to get myself on TV. Oh boy, that's going to be tough if I did that. I was terrible. It was awful, but you know, most people are when they start out. But I remember being so excited being able to have the opportunity to be on TV, and I really felt that this was a big moment for me, and I was excited. He's making his list, he's checking it twice, you better watch out. because Santa Claus is coming to town.
My first impression of Mike when I met him was that he was nice, he was likable, and he was a bit goofy. He would come into the newsroom and be joking and use these funny voices. Mike would bring this level of levity into the room and make everybody happy again and feel good about why we were all there.
There's a lot of teasing and ribbing, and he and I got along really well right from the start. He reminded me kind of like this best friend, older brother, and we just clicked.
Welcome back to News at Noon. It's in the news every day. And unfortunately, violence is one of the most important things that we need to talk to our children about.
He was a calming presence. He knew exactly what to do. He would kind of take the lead and walk us through it until we were able to get reestablished. Always had a great story, a great smile. Someone that viewers just, I think they connect with.
Oh, you better watch out. You better not pout. You better not pout. I'm telling you why.
He set an example for so many other people in the newsroom with what he was willing to do. And I know that I probably took that for granted to some degree as his manager, because I knew that if I asked him to do something, he just wouldn't say no.
Mike is the consummate professional in this industry, right? And it's not a mask, it's not a facade. What you see is what you get. He is the same on air as off air. And so to me, he does such a great job of not only coming on and delivering the news and delivering the weather, but also creating that connection with viewers that we strive so diligently to get.
You honestly taught me so much about the Northwest, and I couldn't be more grateful. Congratulations on everything, your love for the industry, your commitment to meteorology, but more importantly, your love for that community.
Oftentimes, I just never really counted myself as anyone that could receive something like this kind of representation, especially for someone that works in a small market. I always thought the awards and the Emmys go to people in the big television markets and not necessarily the smaller ones. But we have a job to do here in the small markets. And I've always believed that I've had that job. Where else can you go somewhere and just people really genuinely love what you do?
Mike's inscription reads, "Celebrating your excellence as a certified and beloved storm tracker in the Tri-Cities, Yakima, and beyond. Your enthusiasm and humor bring smiles, foster trust, and put the unity in our community. Thank you for being a beacon of positivity in television broadcasting." Please welcome Mike McCabe.
I've watched all of you. So it's so good to be here tonight. This is a huge honor for me, and I'm going to get emotional. I get it. I've watched Jeff Renner. You guys probably have no idea who I am, and I'm okay with that. I have been able to watch the late, great Steve Poole. I got to meet him a couple of times. I grew up in the Yakima Valley, and all I ever wanted to do was be on television. And at what capacity, I didn't know. But I knew I wanted to be on TV. And I got through this business in the back door by doing a vocational skill center class in Yakima. And I got in front of the class and I joked and I did magic tricks and I smiled and I would imitate weather people on television. I'd stand in front of the green screen and do all the things. And I watched a guy that was in Yakima. His name was Sabo. And he had been there for years and years, and he's still around, great guy. And my mother took me to a television station in Yakima at KPTV, actually not KMA, it was KPTV at first, and then eventually KMA Television. And I got my first job running teleprompter for the 5 and the 6 o'clock newscast. And back then we had to take the scripts and tape it onto this conveyor belt that had a camera on it, and sometimes it would get caught up in there. And one of the main anchors, his name was TJ Close, and I would tape it all up, and I'd get nervous, and I would look at these guys as big-time celebrities because it was a big deal to me. And here I was working in a television station, and that, to me, I felt I was important, and I felt like I mattered, that I had a job. In the 80s, late 80s and early 90s, and I was behind the scenes. We're talking 35 years ago. And so I cut my teeth in that market doing teleprompter. Then I did camera work, and I ran the audio board, and then I worked in master control. And the news director, TJ, close at the time, he said, Mike, go to school, come back, we'll hire you in the news department, and you can be a TV news anchor, because that's what I really wanted to do. As the cards laid out, it didn't work out that way for me. I got a job in radio in Lewiston, Idaho, and I met my beautiful wife, who's with me here tonight, and we've been married for 26 years. And I hit the kid lottery with two beautiful daughters. One is a freshman at Boise State University. Yes, amen. I wasn't here last year because my youngest daughter is graduating from Hanford High School, and I'm a grandpa now, so thank you. And all I ever wanted to do was represent my community. And my wife, who's an educator, said, honey, you need to go into classrooms, you need to talk to kids about weather, because I knew I worked in news, and I thought, you know what, the weather guys have a lot better job than the news guys, at least for me. And so I was able to get in front of the camera, and I got a shot at being on TV in Lewiston, Idaho. His name was Fred Fickenworth, and I went in there, and he told me, he said, well, you really need that 4-year college degree, which I didn't have. And I was the only one in the newsroom that didn't have a 4-year college degree. And you know, a lot of times when I meet with my friends in the circles, they always say, where'd you go to school? And you know, for me, it was the school of hard knocks. I just didn't do well in the classroom. But I tried 4 times, and it was a small station in Lewiston, Idaho. I said, just give me a chance to get on television. I promise I will not let you down. And that's where it started. So Lewiston, Idaho, then I got TJ Close, who told me to go to school, hired me to do weather for the morning show. So I did that. And then I came to the Tri-Cities, and I've represented a small market. We need representation in these small markets. And so I've been able to do that come October for 30 years now. And along the way, a lot of people believed in me and gave me a great chance, including Robyn Wojtanek, who was very hard on me. But she was an equal opportunity hard ass with everybody. You really were, Robyn. And you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And so now I realize how naive I was to think that just because I was on television that I was important. I understand now at 56 years old is that I am important, and that we're all important, and we all have a job to do, right? We do, and we all matter. And my days are not over. I believe that my best days are ahead of me, and I don't know what that's gonna look like in this business. I work in a small market with limited resources. And I'm just so thankful that I've been able to do that. I've been a part of the Wishing Star Foundation. We grant wishes to kids that have debilitating diseases or illnesses that unfortunately can take their lives. And I've gone to countless classrooms and talked to kids about the weather, and I do a little magic trick at the end. And anyway, I'm gonna ramble on, and I'm gonna keep it short because we have other people that need to be here tonight. So thank you so much, and the people that mattered, and everybody for being here tonight. And I'm just so nervous being in front of all you guys. I've watched every one of you. I do, every time I come to the big city, because I'm still a small town guy. Here I am. Thank you guys so much.
That was terrific. Thank you so much. For more than 30 years, Robyn Nance has been a trusted voice in the inland Northwest. As co-anchor of Good Morning Northwest at Spokane's KXLY, she has guided viewers through breaking news with clarity and compassion. Robyn's heart for children shaped her long-running Wednesday's Child series and inspired her to co-found the Teen and Kid Closet, which has served tens of thousands of young people. Robyn's reporting has taken her into some of the region's most challenging stories, always with courage and care. Now we get a chance to meet Robyn Nance.
I'm 4 News Now anchor Derek Dice. For 12 years, I had the pleasure of sharing the anchor desk with Robyn Nance. And for much longer than that, I had the pleasure of calling her a dear friend.
And I'm Robyn Nance. Don't adjust your TVs.
By her side and from afar, it's been a privilege to watch such a fantastic journalist at work. Robyn's career began in her home state of Missouri, but like many from the Show Me state, she was destined to come west.
Tomorrow on KPTV News Early Morning, New York.
Robyn's Inland Northwest career started at KREM TV in Spokane a month before the legendary Spokane ice storm.
We are reminiscent of Randy Nev's last year, but I broke out the big-time bubble blower. Look at this.
She served our community through its most profound moments ever since.
At 7 minutes after 6 o'clock, we are monitoring a situation for you over on the East Coast where a plane has apparently crashed into the World Trade Center. And
in 2003, just after her third child was born, Robyn came to 4 News Now as our evening anchor.
Hi, I'm Richard Brown.
And I'm Robyn Nance. You know, it's also construction time.
She later moved to mornings and became a trusted voice in trying times.
we look back at, let's say, February, March, a story that has stunned many of us in a shocking move. It's really important that people trust where they get their news. And here at KXLY, we take
that trust quite literally opened doors that for every other journalist would remain closed.
Life is not okay for those working tirelessly, short-staffed.
Ended my day putting 2 patients in body bags, right?
Her care for our community goes beyond those stories. Her Wednesday's Child segment ignited a passion. Robyn was a foster mom herself. She also started a nonprofit to further help kids.
This is not just a clothing bank. This is a place where kids can come and pick out some really great quality clothes that'll just let them feel like they fit in and just like everybody else.
Beloved MC and fundraiser, we're not sure Robyn has ever said no to nonprofits and organizations who ask her to speak on their behalf. Robyn has anchored every newscast in every day part. Always prepared, she also demands the best of those around her. Her heart for the community shows on the air every day, in the serious and not so serious moments.
It's like,
Friday Fun Day.
Always up for an adventure.
That ride of a lifetime got its start this morning, hours before the actual flight.
Especially when it comes to highlighting our nation's military. An Emmy-nominated Murrow Award-winning journalist, a working mom, volunteer, sports fan, and friend. For decades, a voice our community can trust, and a friend to those of us lucky enough to sit beside her.
You know, Robyn has mastered the art of using storytelling as a very powerful resource. Whether she's connecting people to one another or maybe learn more about ourselves, she translates that to the anchor desk as well. That's why people lean in. They want to share the morning with her, and that's why people are tuning in. So Robyn, from my heart to your heart, I will treasure those memories that we had all those years on the anchor desk together. Congratulations, my friend.
Robyn's inscription reads, "You inspire and challenge the Inland Northwest through distinguished journalism and dedication to the community. Your leadership in the newsroom and beyond touched countless families and will leave an enduring legacy. You've set the gold standard for 4 News Now." Please welcome Robyn Nance. And beautifully attired, I might say.
My boss wouldn't let me see that video beforehand, and I see why. Oh my goodness, it was rude. So how did we get here, our silver and gold circle honorees? I think it's because we are survivors. From the beginning, I survived being a middle child. I have a sister who is with us here. She's from Michigan. Thank you. She's 15 months, very long months older. And then we have a brother who is 12 months to the day younger than I am. Again, rude. So as you can see, I have some real middle child hang-ups. My sister is a chemist, a global director of research and development for her company. And our brother, he served time in the military. He was an Air Force Academy grad, kind of a big deal fighter pilot. He's now a bigwig with a major defense contractor who could not be here. Real slackers. Again, you see why I have some hang-ups. But we were, growing up, very curious about the world around us. Our parents encouraged us to not just leave the space that we were in better than the way we found it, but they encouraged us to learn and go and experiment, and they really felt like nothing could hold us back, except for when I said I wanted to go into journalism.
broadcast journalism too. We grew up in a really small town in southeast Missouri, and that was just not something that you did. That was like big city stuff. So I said, I gotta try. So like some of you, I survived some small markets. My very first station was in a different Tri-Cities area. It was Quincy, Illinois, Hannibal, Missouri, Keokuk, Iowa. I wanted to learn everything, and that was back in 1991. So I did. I learned just about everything I could. I reported, I ran a live truck and did not electrocute anyone, including myself, which was awesome. We produced, anchored my own show at the same time, didn't even have IFB. You know, you're trying to back time on a yellow sheet of paper. We again taped the scripts together and ran the teleprompter. At that time, I also had the thinnest of skins. My very first general manager told me that I was too fat to be on television. So I went home and ate a whole pizza, whatever. But at the same time, I had a news director who was as wide as he was tall, wore a maroon jacket, very Ron Burgundy style, but he was the nicest, kindest man who saw something beyond that. You saw my video. Quite large face, giant hair, loved the hair. I don't mind it at all. But he saw something in me and encouraged me to just keep trying. And I did. And I survived crossing the whole country to move out here to just, you know, be in the 1 year in the inland Northwest. I'm just gonna give it a shot. I'll be back. I love it here. This is my home. I moved here in 1996, and I love being part of this community. But you know, we do so much in the public, so much life in the public, and we keep it together. You know, I survived months and months of morning sickness on the morning show, 2 miscarriages, one actually at work, constant stress, sleep deprivation of raising children. So many of us know what that's like. And I have 3 amazing kids. I have a wildland firefighter. I have a soldier who's in Germany. I have a recent college grad who's an athlete. I adore those children, and that's what my life really has been about. Them and other children as well, which you saw in my video. But it's hard living life in the public. Because yeah, it's fun, and we get to do some amazing things, but it's also really, really hard. I lived through a divorce in public. I survived my parents' deaths recently. And you do that trying to continue doing what we always do. But the cool thing was, I think I realized that, you know, I felt like I just want to keep this personal. Like, here's my personal life, here's my professional life, and I'm trying to survive. But I have really amazing female leadership at my place of business. KXLY has 2 really strong female bosses, and Melissa Luck really showed to me that I did not have to do that stuff alone, and that she really made me realize you don't just have to survive, you can thrive, and you can do that because people care about you. Your coworkers care about you, and the people that we represent, you know, the people that we are showing up for every single day care about us, most of them. Some of them look for all the faults, and that's okay too, you know, it's what we do. But I just feel like it's such an honor to be able to do what we do and to have the support that we do have. We are blessed beyond belief to be in this industry, to be challenged, to find the best in our community, to call out the people who deserve to be called out, who are making decisions for us. We've had amazing honor to meet wonderful people, to tell really impactful stories, and we get to have a front row seat to some of the coolest, amazing events in our communities. We have survived lots of things. We've survived Y2K, we will survive vertical videos. I keep telling myself that I can do this. I am very, very grateful to KXLY, 4 News Now, especially again for the leadership that I have had. Teddy Gibbon, who is here, who is also wrapping up an amazing career. I'm so grateful for what you have done for me. The opportunities, not just surviving, but to thrive, and the encouragement. And also, I guess I should say that they've also had to, my bosses, field a lot of calls about my decision to go gray. Thank you. And again, to survive that in the public, because everybody has a comment about your hair. Females, we especially know that. But I am grateful that I now have an award to go with my silver hair. So thank you to NATAS. Thank you to Kevin. You are amazing. To thank you for the opportunities. And let's just keep doing what we do and do it better. Thank you.
Thank you. A silver fox, I
Oh, thank you so much. I'll take that.
A proud sister there as well. For more than 3 decades, Don Nelson has been a steady, trusted presence in Idaho's Treasure Valley. After beginning his career in radio, he transitioned to television in 1986, and in 1994, Don joined Boise's Idaho News 6, where he became a nightly fixture for viewers. Don's interviews range from national figures to neighborhood voices, always guided by his belief that everybody has a story, and indeed they do. Don signed off for the last time this week, his last May book, last night. As he prepares for retirement, yay for you, you'll see how his legacy is one of connection, kindness, and unwavering dedication to community journalism.
Like so many before and after, Don Nelson fell for the Boise area on first sight.
We've been driving for about 10 minutes now.
The opportunity came to come to Boise, and I remember when I got shown around town, before he was even hired, I just fell in love with this place.
Beautiful downtown McCall, Idaho. We are calling this a winter paradise this year.
His first co-anchor, Claudia Weatherman, remembers the day Don started, after spending his early career as a Colorado disc jockey who went by the nickname Danger Moon.
What's going on today?
And I was just like, 1,000 questions. Where are you from? What have you done? Da, 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 da. And he like instantly disclosed the whole Danger Moon thing. Not like, hey, I'm here to be your big new anchor man. He was just level a friend from the very beginning.
And that's a trait his second co-anchor, Michelle Edmonds, recognized quickly. No ego.
He is the same guy, no matter if the light on the camera is on or not. And that's just what I adore about it. I think it's what everybody adores about him is he is who he is.
And most agree Don has stayed that way his whole career, which spanned 3 decades.
Don Nelson.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Don Nelson.
I'm senior reporter Don Nelson.
Since Don started at Channel 6 in 1994, farmland has been replaced by never-ending subdivisions. Boise State has become a powerhouse Division I football program. And newspapers have been decimated by the internet, which Don calls the biggest change of all, especially for news.
Everything in the show is scripted.
So I'd say the birth of the internet, and then going to social media, and now everything is, on your phone. It's just changed so much. It really has. I think there will be a market for local news. I do believe that, always. But how that's presented.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Don says shortly after his start in Boise, he realized, unlike radio jockeys, people recognize TV anchors.
Yeah, I've never been comfortable with being recognized. Isn't that weird after all these years?
Edmonds says there's still time.
People still know who you are in the community and they still respect you and trust you, and that's something that will never go away.
So what's next for our Nelly, as Michelle calls him?
Well, he's going to need to play a lot of golf.
Like any good reporter, Don has done his research on retirement and gotten lots of advice.
When you've been doing something for so long and then you don't do it anymore, it's a bit of a reality check. So you have to stay relevant. And have a purpose.
As such, he plans to work with Meals on Wheels and local VA, but there will also be plenty of time to play some golf, spend some time with family, and when the alarm goes off in the morning,
I might get, turn off the snooze button and sleep for another half hour.
He's on 6 on your side.
And when it comes to a final message for his viewers,
Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for having enough trust in me and the folks I worked with here at Channel 6 to continue to watch.
Don's inscription reads, "To celebrate a career defined by trusted storytelling, steady leadership, and a deep commitment to the communities we serve, your work informed, connected, and inspired generations. Thank you for your lasting impact and years of excellence at Idaho News 6. Please welcome Don Nelson.
Yeah, that's so weird watching video yourselves. So I'm the Boise guy. My wife Mary's here with me. Had this been an event, I should have told people back in Boise we were going to honor Ashton Genty tonight. I would have had about 200 people coming. Sir, I got to tell you, because I'm going to suck up to the Gold Circle guy. I'm a Wisconsin native, born in Milwaukee. So there you go. I said, I got to suck up this guy. I don't know him, but I got to say something about it. I hear you're a legend. Okay, so, no, I'm giving you a hard time. So I have to say, I'm going to keep this very short. Like my March Madness brackets, I have changed this speech way too many times. That's probably why I haven't won any money for the past 30 plus years every March. So let me just tell you about a guy named George. I couldn't tell you George's last name. The year 1978. I know. George was a friend of my brother and a recent graduate of a broadcasting school in Philadelphia. After 2 years of college, I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. Imagine that, right? As a matter of fact, the dean of academics called me into his office one day and goes, "Don, you are such a good student. We're going to give you a year off." I was like, wow, yeah, that didn't go too well with my parents. So George told me, he says, "You like music, you like to talk, maybe you should check out this broadcasting school in downtown Philly." I said, all right. So I did, and I spent 6 years traveling around Colorado, spinning records and talking. My TV career started at a brand new cable station in the booming town of Craig, Colorado, near Steamboat, where I was also moonlighting as the program director of a local radio station. So we taped the news. I can't make this stuff up. On one camera behind a video arcade in a strip mall, we taped at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to toss to 5-minute packages on the city council meeting. And we had to chase the kids away with quarters, unplug the machines when we were ready to record. Now, first real TV job came at CBS affiliate in Grand Junction, Colorado, KREX, where I actually had to go to the local mall in Grand Junction and buy a suit so I could audition for an anchor position in the studio. 8 years later, I was off to Boise, Idaho. As a matter of fact, today is my official last day at KIVI. I signed off yesterday. They had me on the books for Friday. I'm like, I got to go to Seattle for this silver thing. I don't know what it is. It's up in Seattle, but so they gave me, yeah. So I'm off the books officially tomorrow. I can still log into our Teams channel, which is kind of weird. So people ask me, what are you going to miss? And everybody knows this, so I'm repeating stuff that you guys already know. I will miss people who walk up to you in town, in your market, and they act like you're their best friend, and that is so cool. I really, I don't like being recognized, and that is so true. I can't stand that, but once I make that connection with somebody on the street, and they, that is so cool. What I won't miss are the people that say, "Hey, I grew up watching you," right? My parents grew up watching you. So live TV, as we know, there's nothing like it, and it's a rush I'm guessing I'll never experience again. Again, I'd be lying if I said I never dreamed of this career, because I have. The bottom line is I'll miss doing what I've done my whole adult life because I've never known anything else. I want to thank the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Northwest Chapter for this honor. I want to thank two guys who took a chance on me. Tom McGill in Grand Junction, Colorado, who's flying into Boise tonight. I'm supposed to have a party tomorrow. Hopefully we'll make it back if we can get out of SeaTac in time. And Brink Chipman, who hired me in Boise, who's no longer with us, took a chance on me. And he said, give me 3 years. And that was 1994. Do the math, right? Only worked for 2 stations in 40 years. I don't like moving. Thanks to Doug Locksmith, who put all this nonsense together. My wife, Mary, who listened to her share of, you aren't going to believe what happened to me today at work stories. My kids, Sam and Annie. And of course, I want to thank George, wherever he is today, because, you know, it was some guy that I just met back in the late 70s, and he told me to get into radio. I did it, and now I'm done, and that's it. I'm out. Thank you. I dropped the mic, but I don't think I can take it off. Thank you.
Yes, it is yours from now on. Henceforth and forevermore, that plaque will be with you. Well, please forgive me because this honoree is personal for me. Liz Rocca spent 35 years in television news, earning multiple Emmy and Murrow Awards for investigative reporting that led to real change. After early roles in Nebraska and Idaho Falls, she joined Seattle's KOMO 4 in 1988, where she produced, anchored, and became known for her groundbreaking crime and consumer investigations, all while whooping the competition. Yes, that includes myself. Her reporting exposed government waste, uncovered elder fraud, and prompted industry-wide safety improvements. Liz later held leadership roles at Fox 13 and Cairo 7, where she was my weekend assignment editor for a few glorious weeks, before moving into public service, where she continues her commitment to accountability and community. Meet my incredible friend, Liz Rocca.
No matter what we asked Liz to do, she handled it like a pro.
Let's go to Liz Rocca, who is with some of them right now. Liz? The first game of this American League Championship Series.
What a professional.
One of the most poignant moments in the time that I knew her, when we all went to Walla Walla, Cal Brown, who had been on death row since 1991, was being put to death.
KOMO 4's Liz Rocca was the only Seattle TV reporter to witness the execution.
He began by saying, and this is a relative verbatim, first to the family of Holly Washa, I have to say to you that I understand your feelings and your enmity and hatred towards me.
Liz is the person that broke some of the biggest stories in the Pacific Northwest, and of course, the biggest cut was breaking the news that the arrest of Gary Ridgway.
It's okay if we have that live picture to go ahead and just show the picture of the room. Liz Rocca is there.
Arrest, we understand, took place a couple of hours ago. The man is a white male in his 50s and has been working in the South King County area. We have known this information for a few hours, agreed to sit on it so that this arrest was not jeopardized. From the moment I first saw Judith Ridgway standing in the doorway of her home back in 2001, the day her husband was arrested, I have wanted to tell her story. Tonight, after 6 years in hiding, she has given me that chance. Her husband had been keeping. Shock and shame drove her into hiding.
I still can't believe it, but it has happened.
And humiliating for Judith Ridgway, the serial killer's ex-wife.
She did so much in the city, exposing illegal drug use.
Would you guys call 911 if we get in any trouble? We're about to confront two men. We believe they're using one of Seattle's expensive high-tech toilets as a crack house. It's broad daylight in the International District's Hing Hay Park. When the door opens. Hey, what are you guys doing in there? What are you doing in there? You doing drugs?
But boy, did we strike it rich when we had Liz start doing investigative journalism.
Thousands of miles of track,
most of it unguarded. So many trains for the taking. 2 a.m. in the heart of a small eastern Washington town. A Burlington Northern train rolls to a stop and is left by its crew.
Your ability to dig for a story is remarkable, particularly the ones in which people in positions of power don't want information to see the light of day.
You are so deserving of the Silver Circle. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
I am so delighted that you are getting this honor. You deserve to be in the Silver Circle.
Liz Rocca, Amy Clancy here. All I can say is it's about freaking time. Congratulations.
Indeed it is. Liz's inscription reads, a groundbreaking investigative reporter who set the standard for journalism in Seattle. During a 35-year career in television news, you broke stories and initiated lasting change, all while leading, teaching, and mentoring. Your commitment is unmatched, your courage uncompromised. Julie Berg wrote that. Please welcome Liz Rocca.
Wow, I'd forgotten a lot of that. No, I haven't. I want to thank NATAS for this wonderful night, this wonderful setting. Thank the board for this great honor. Thank Deborah for nominating me. Thank you so much. And Julie Berg. Julie Berg for the great video. I understand Jason Nobles at Cairo edited that. You don't get here alone, and there are a lot of people to thank, and I'll get to that in a little bit. I started my career in the fall of 1984. Yeah, I'm 65, do the math. In a small town in Nebraska in the Panhandle called Scottsbluff. I was an anchor and I cut my demo tape on a camcorder in a friend's apartment and mailed it off thinking I have no chance of getting this job whatsoever, and I got it. So went out to Scottsbluff, and Robyn, I think we might have had the same our initial news director, because he too wore the Ron Burgundy jacket. A rotund man, very kind, and I'm forever grateful to him because he, gave me my start in the business. But it was a job that I was pretty certain on a daily basis I was not going to survive. There was the snow in the winter, and I was from San Francisco, so I didn't know what snow was. And the bad thing about it is that we had to climb up the side of the building, the cinder blocks. It was a nice mid-century modern building, but we had to climb up the cinder blocks to sweep the snow out of the satellite dish. Because the viewers would start calling saying, I can't see the so we'd have to climb up there. And we were the only ones who did it, myself and Curtis was a large man, so it was usually me. Then there were the weird quirks of Curtis as an anchor. He would read his stories, and then as I was doing my reads, he would talk to himself while I was reading. And I thought, I can't do it. I gotta go home. I can't. The snow, the thing that I gotta climb, I couldn't do it. Then there was the general manager, God bless his soul. He would smoke when he filled in for Curtis in his plaid jacket, very loud plaid jacket. And he would smoke, and the smoke, I'd go watch the tape later, and the smoke was like curling up in front of my face, and I'm kind of trying to read the teleprompter. So yeah, on a daily basis, I didn't think I was going to survive that job, but I'll tell you what, I loved Nebraska. I loved the small town experience. I loved the people. And boy, is that a great training ground, those small markets, because you can do anything. If you survive, you can do anything when you come out of those markets. Since then, I've been an investigative reporter, an executive producer, a managing editor, an assistant news director. So I've done a lot of things. I also was for a very brief, unsuccessful time, I'm pretty sure it was unsuccessful, I was a marriage counselor. One day, it was a Monday, and there was some kind of arrest over the weekend, and out we go to track down the dude that, you know, got stopped by the police. And he lived in Spanaway in an apartment. And as I drive up to the parking lot, I see Richard Thompson from Cairo. Many of you know Richard Thompson. And so we look at each other and I'm like, all right, we're doing the same thing today. Let's just go up to the door together. So we knock, knock, knock. Woman answers, and we tell her all the reasons why her husband just has to talk to us, right, about his arrest over the weekend. I can't even remember what he did. It was something terrible, but, you know. And so she gets him, and he decides, oh, we're doing good. Richard and I are doing good. They come out, you know, walk out of the apartment, and they're going to talk to us in the parking lot. Our photogs converge. And to be neighborly, I turn around and I say to her, hey, I'm Liz. Are you Tiffany? Yeah, the silence. And she says, who the F is Tiffany? And I said, well, and so she looks at her husband. He's frozen. Richard's eyes are about this big, right? And no one's answering her. So she says, again, I ask you, who the F is Tiffany? And I said, well, she was in the car with him. She goes, because I'm Michelle, and I'm his wife. So I kid you not. She spun on her heel, she whacked him in the head, and started beating him all the way back to their apartment, and he's this, and she's beating on him. And Richard, with perfect comedic timing, says, ring Liz Rocca's marriage counseling service. How can I help you? I've often wondered how they're doing today. Probably not well, because she's still wondering who Tiffany is, I'm sure. I guess I should probably tell one story about breaking the Green River story. The part I've never told, which is I got my tip that day, and I was sitting at my desk writing a story and got the tip, and then quickly called some other sources to just double, triple check that indeed they'd arrested the Green River killer. And I immediately ran into my news director's office and grabbed the managing editor as I was running by. And I'm like, you guys, they've arrested the Green River killer, and they're gonna have a press conference in a couple of hours. We gotta blow up the 5 o'clock newscast, we gotta rebuild the show, we gotta do, and they literally just stood there like this. And I said, is this thing, you know? They didn't believe me. And it took a good, 10 or 15 minutes, and we're still going back and forth. And they're like, well, we don't really want to blow up the newscast. That's a lot. Why don't you just go down to, the news conference and then tell us, what they say? I'm like, you guys, we cannot know this 3 hours ahead of time and not blow up the newscast and build it out, right? So I think, who can help me? My beloved Brian Johnson, a legend of all time in reporting in Seattle. I look out and he's out in the newsroom. BJ, please help me. So he comes in and I say, BJ, they've arrested the Green River killer. I said, they tell me he's a truck painter. And he said, well, that fits. They've had paint specs for years that they've been trying to test. And that's all BJ had to say. And those two, oh, well, then let's blow up the newscast. Let's do that. So however it happened, at least we got it over the finish line. And my friend BJ came in and was the only guy who backed me that day, but that was enough. So, but again, you don't get there, you don't get here alone. And there's a lot of people to thank. So many photographers who were by my side on every story, who made the story, who made it better when they cut it in the truck, So many producers who wrote bang-up cold opens and made the start, you know, of my story or that newscast just sing. Colleagues who would help you out if you were trying to, you know, make those extra calls or do something, you know. It really is a business where people, believe it or not, as much competition as we have with one another for our contracts and all of those sorts of things. There's a lot of camaraderie in this business, and I really do miss it. So I'm thankful to all those people along the way, all the people that wrote letters. Again, Deborah, for nominating me, thank you. My friend Linda, who drove all the way from the mountaintops of Whatcom County to be here tonight. And finally, to my wife, Adrienne, 20 years this year. Back in the days when you had to go to Canada because they wouldn't let you get married here. And you know what this business does to relationships and marriages. It's tough. Late nights, early mornings, you know, wind, snow, rain, morning show fill-in, night fill-in, weekends, holidays. But I wouldn't trade a thing, and I wouldn't trade 1 minute of Adrienne being by my side for the vast majority of my career. Thank you. Appreciate all of you.
You get to take it. Thank you. When you were talking about marriage counseling, I thought you were talking about with the photographer, having a marriage. I mean, every television station, I swear, is exactly the same. Only the names, the accents, and where they're from is different. That was fantastic. Tracy Sabo has shaped journalism from CNN's global coverage to Alaska's most watched local newsroom. Her work at CNN earned 3 Peabody Awards, or Peabody as they say in Massachusetts, and the National Headliner Award before she moved to The Last Frontier in 2012 to lead Alaska's news source. Under her leadership, the newsroom expanded statewide, strengthened investigative reporting, and earned a regional Emmy for overall excellence. Tracy is known for her integrity, innovation, and mentorship, qualities that have elevated journalism across the state of Alaska. Take a look at Tracy's inspirational career.
Rewards or inductions are an interesting thing because they make you pause and reflect on your career. We're pretty humble, most of us as journalists, I think, if you're doing it right. But I will tell you there are definitely things I'm proud of. Through the course of 19 plus years at CNN, I moved up to a senior field producer role, which was a breaking news 24/7. I was on the road about 270 days a year covering breaking news, political campaigns, natural disasters, international news, war zones, horrible, unimaginable scenes. But I can tell you that's truly what cemented my desire to work in journalism, because I saw that there was such a need to shine a light in places that were rarely exposed, not just for accountability purposes, but places in the world that deserve to be covered. I was willing to work 24/7 around the clock, spend all of those formidable years of my life doing news, and I wouldn't change a thing. We are taught as journalists when we first go through school is that we always will abide by the SPJ code of ethics. You will be dogged in your pursuit for the truth and to expose wrongdoing, but you will always do so ethically, responsibly. Often journalists that are new in the business will come and say, how do I learn all these things? And it's very hard to say with time because it truly is every single day taking away a lesson. If you make a mistake, you learn from that. If you have a great success, you also learn from that. It is a profession that is harder than ever to keep great people. There are so many challenges. It's a 24/7 lifestyle, but the work is so incredibly important. The world needs more journalists, not less, in my opinion. I had a job I absolutely adored and loved, and it was very coveted at the network level. And I had taken a family trip to Alaska and fell in love with the state. Here I am 14 plus years later, and there are stories still to be told. This state is truly unlike any other. The opportunities are boundless. We had a very unfortunate situation within the last year where former Typhoon Halong devastated 47 villages across western Alaska. That's coverage when I sit back as the director of news here at Alaska's News Source. I'm not only incredibly proud of the work our team did, but I am so humbled by the fact we were thanked for our efforts in bringing that to the world, because the help came from all over the world. These are the memories that stand out when you look back at a history of 30 years and you reflect on, holy wow, look at all the places I've been, look at all the people I have met, and look at all the things I've seen, good and bad. They form you. They truly are my soul at this point. And so when people do ask, what's your favorite? As I often say, it's the next one, because every one of them proves to be almost equally as important when you reflect on a whole career.
And still so young. Tracy's inscription reads, "You've led Alaska's news source with vision, integrity, and heart, guiding journalists through historic change while championing the next generation of storytellers and never stopping in the pursuit of telling Alaska's story." Please welcome Tracy Sabo.
Get out of your seat soon. Thank you so much. Leave it to Alaska to bring up the last spot. And I will tell you, you can tell all of you are on television at some point. I've spent my whole life trying to stay off of camera, and you would know that by the fact everyone else has large print, and I didn't think to make it large, so I'm gonna be wearing glasses. Thank you very much, NATAS, for the honor. I am truly humbled. It is amazing to sit and hear all of the stories in this room and to think I, in some way, shape, or form, are anywhere near the caliber that is being recognized tonight. I do recognize everyone in here probably at least understands that in a room full of people like ourselves, we understand that breaking news is just the universe reacting to your plans, and I've kind of lived by that my whole life. My broadcasting career did not start in a newsroom. It was in the 80s, and I was in middle school, and there was a local radio station in my hometown of Columbia, South Carolina, and they had a contest. They ran a promo that said, decorate your house with holiday lights and send us some pictures, and there'll be a winner, $1,000 prize. I was barely a teenager in middle school, and $1,000 might as well have been $1 million, right? And my friend Jill and I said, challenge accepted. So we rode our bikes down to Kmart. Doesn't even exist anymore. And we bought as many strands of lights as 2 middle schoolers could possibly afford. And then we came home and tried somehow to talk my mom into letting us decorate the house. And she finally capitulated and said, okay, one night only, just long enough when it turned dark to take pictures, and then get them off the house. We went full Clark Griswold, like 100%. We spelled out the station's call letters. We also spelled out the promotion, and it was WNOK, means music, money, and more. The money, we of course put in green lights, and the more was like flashing and multicolor. We were nothing if not editorially accurate. And then we, of course, needed to take pictures. So we had to ride back down to Kmart, of course, in the day where you had to get photos developed. And every broadcaster in here probably knows at this point that, a good ROI requires very mitigated financial risk. And my disclaimer at this point was I had not had broadcasting ethics at this point in my very young career. So we decided we'd pack up every single one of those strands of lights back into their original packaging, take it back to Kmart and get all of our money back, all of it. We did pay for the developing, and then we went back to our house and paid for a stamp, and we mailed them off. And a few weeks later, WNOK called, we won $1,000. It was huge. And so at age 17, broadcast was all I wanted to do. I had my first exposure. I thought it was amazing. When I went in to collect our prize, we got a little tour. And so by the time I entered college, I got my very first job at 17 and was an announcer and a board operator and reporter at an all-news radio station in Knoxville, Tennessee. I thought I'd won the lottery. And, while my other college friends and associates were running around town with their IDs, fake ones, I had my prized FCC license in a little protector. I carried it everywhere, just waiting for someone to ask for my broadcasting credentials, right? It never happened. To this day, I carried that around in the early 1990s, it was like a backstage pass to the Counting Crows of the day, right? I still am a broadcasting nerd, just for the record. So a few years later, after graduation, I landed a dream job at CNN, and I would have done it for free, 100%. And some would probably argue in those early days I actually did. But I didn't care. I was working for the world's news leader. I was working for the late Ted Turner. His executive conference room, which I was lucky enough to do a few shoots early on in my career with him, had a massive life-size lion that he had taken on a hunting trip from Botswana. That lion were larger than life, and I was absolutely just mesmerized. And so for more than 19 years at CNN, I had the opportunity to cover breaking news of every single kind. It was natural disasters, immigration, executions. We did international conflicts. I've been in war zones. And my team, later based in Dallas, was one of the busiest that traveled, as you saw the pictures, 270 days a year, which quite honestly was an amazing career and a very glamorous one, only if you truly enjoyed, carpet at the airport design and hotel carpet design and sipping coffee in a live truck at 3 a.m. Most of you have probably been there. But I was most proud of the fact it was a front row seat to history. I was at 9/11 within a day and a half of that tragedy at Ground Zero. I was in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina for months. I was in Haiti, as you saw, after that magnitude 7 earthquake claimed more than 200,000 lives. Those are scenes that you cannot put back. You've all probably had them if you've been in the field. They're tragic, they're horrible. You know that no words you put on a script or no visuals that you capture will ever be enough. But I believe that work so matters. When journalism is done well, it can move people. You take people to the front lines with you. It has a way of making the world seem very small, and the over there becomes us, right? And sometimes it can absolutely move mountains. It can move governments. It can move organizations. It can move viewers to respond. And so my 14 years to follow it at KTUU in Alaska have been so equally as meaningful, even more so in many ways. Alaska has a way of making the stakes feel very, very real. Communities living the impacts of climate change firsthand, earthquakes, natural disasters, diminishing salmon runs that threaten subsistence ways of life, and recently a high-stakes summit between a US president and a Russian president firsthand. Of course, the Iditarod, Alaska's Super Bowl, it's like a Super Bowl, except the field is 1,000 miles long, and the interviews are done with a headlamp and negative 50 degrees. Other than that, it's pretty much like any other football game. But to everyone here who continues to raise your hand to do this kind of work, thank you. The criticism can be very, very loud. The pressure is constant, deadlines are constant, the stories can be so incredibly heavy. The alternative, I believe, to any of that is worse. Was without the credible journalism that all of us do, the world shrinks, I believe. And I believe that we stop paying attention to one another. Worse than that, when it happens, compassion shrinks with it, right? So tonight, I think back to middle school and those lights that are top of mind. We strung them up for one night and we took a few pictures. And little would I know that they would have such a major future impact. Because I think that's the thing about this job that we all do. You don't know the impact. You don't know the impact in real time. And that's not to say you're not doing it. I believe we're all making a major impact every single day. Story by story, day by day, community by community, it truly does matter, even if it doesn't feel like it in real time. And so if that goofy radio station promotion, music, money, and more, could have an impact on someone like me as a young teen, it changed the course of my life. Please know that the work you're doing today
when it reaches the right person on the right day, wow, what a difference. And you just don't know where that impact's gonna come from. I've heard so many good stories tonight about impacting others and hearing about it later. So all I can say is thank you so much for including me in this. I feel so out of place with all of these amazing, wonderful, talented individuals that have really made an impact on this region especially. And I am truly humbled to even play a small part in that. So thank you so much, and it means more than I could possibly say. Well, it's happened. We're at the end. And oh, what a night it has been. It's humbling to see the impact our inductees have had on our communities, our newsrooms, and our region. The gold circle and silver circle represent more than years of service. They represent leadership, mentorship, innovation, and a deep commitment to the craft of storytelling. Tonight's honorees have informed us, inspired us, and in many ways shaped the Northwest's understanding of itself. Their work reminds us why journalism matters, why local broadcasting matters, and why the people who work in front or behind the camera matter most of all. On behalf of the Northwest chapter of NATAS, thank you for joining us in celebrating these remarkable professionals. We congratulate all of our 2026 inductees and the 2025 inductee as well. And we thank them for their dedication, their integrity, and their lasting contributions to our industry. We look forward to seeing you throughout Emmy weekend. Yes, there'll be more to come for all of you. And we hope you will join us again next year as we continue this tradition of honoring excellence across the Northwest. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for being a part of this celebration. Good night.